Okay, so for this question on differentiation and integration, I think it's quite a mix because it's mixed in with rate of change. Okay, the first part, okay, is quite a simple one. It's just a product rule. Okay, so the first part, you are just expected to do your product rule. It is really a no trick question. So if you do your product rule, your mini differentiation, most of you will know how to combine it. But the problem with some of you when you're doing product rule is maybe you will do some students, they don't write this. They will just leave it in the negative power and then they simplify from there. So the thing about doing negative power, some of you may not be so good. And in the end, you couldn't get back the format that you want. So the guideline will be you don't simplify when the power is negative. You make sure you convert the negative power to fraction first. So make sure you convert the negative power to fraction. Okay, so once you convert, make sure everything is in nice fraction. So after you apply your product rule, you will have gotten this part as a method mark already. So your differentiation is done. Subsequently is your algebra. So the algebra to complete this will be to make same denominator. So you make same denominator, okay, and then you will get to a single fraction. So I will say this one is very, very basic. It shouldn't be too challenging. So it's something that I don't think you should waste the marks. So that is the dy dx. And then subsequently, they give you a rate of change. They give you a dx dt, and your job is to find dy dt. So I will say this one is quite easy also. If you remember that the generic rate of change formula is this. So let's say you got stuck in your dy dx. So you take the dy dx and then you continue with the dy dx that if let's say you couldn't get, then multiply by the dx dt and then just sub inside the x. So I think this one is a very simple one. Okay. Okay, the more difficult part could be the using the result. So again, right, they bold it. So you are supposed to use the result for part A. So I hope nobody gets stuck on this. So in the first part, right, you realize that when you differentiate a product, so always write down what's the result first. And the question already tell you to use the result. So you have to use the result. So the only way to use a differentiation result is to reverse it back. So the only way to use a differentiation result is to integrate back. So now I'm going to target the integration. So I'm going to integrate back. So that is the only way. So that's why I will have this portion here. So when I apply the reverse, okay, however, when I apply the reverse, I also apply my definite integral at the same time because the question is asking for a definite integral. So the reason why I always like to apply it directly is because I can do a definite integral straight away. So I straight away do a top minus bottom. So after I straight away do a top minus bottom, that means my integration is reduced to this. And from this, my objective is to get what the question wants. So from here, my objective is to get what the question wants. So you need to compare what you already have and with what the question wants. So you realize that there is a numerator that you can split. So I'm splitting, I'm not touching the 6 anymore. So I'm actually leaving the definite integral alone. So the 6 is there already. And then I split into 2 separate integration. So I share same denominator first. and then I split them into 2. So no matter what, even if I split them into 2, it will still be equal to 6. So I'm just focusing on the left side. I split. So I have these 2 definite integral to work with. But the first definite integral, if you look carefully, is actually what the question wants. If you have taken out the 3 as a common factor. So whatever the question wants is in my first definite integral. So where for the second definite integral is something that I can do it by myself. So it's something where I can do my integration. So I will add a power, divide by new power, and not forgetting an A. So I'm using this formula. So this is one of the basic integration formula. So I have 2 definite integral to work with. One of them is what the question wants. The other one is workable on your own. So they will definitely give you something that you can execute. So you focus on the second definite integral, apply the formula. Okay, so that's another one that some students will get careless mistake. When you do your integration already, before you do the top minus bottom, it's recommended that you simplify first. Because when you simplify already, you do the top minus bottom, it's so much easy. It's so much easier. And you don't subject yourself to too much careless mistake. Okay, so from there, you will find that you will get a value 10 if you bring it over. And then you will need to divide by 3 to get what the question wants. Okay, so I will say this type of question shouldn't be something new. It's expected that you will have 1 or 2 questions like, at least 1 question being tested at O level.